My name's William Kennedy and I'm a QA tester at Realtime Worlds in Dundee. When I very first came here, one of the things I noticed was, of course, the size of the company and the level of work that was happening here and the amount of infrastructure and the different teams and things that were here. When I got here, I got taken through to the QA room, got shown where I was going to be doing my work, and I realised all the technology and the type of work that I was going to be doing and what kind of level it was, and it was so much higher than anything else I'd done before. Well, it's a bit of the cliched old story of that I've always loved games from as long as I can remember, so I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Originally, when I was going through school, I always made sure that I looked at computing, I always tried to keep computing in with what I did, and then whenever I was looking at university courses, I was originally looking at computing science courses and making sure I'd get into computing because obviously that's related to games. But then of course, games degrees started coming out, so I joined a games software development degree at Glasgow Caledonian University, and then from then I've always strived to continue to make sure I got qualifications to get in the industry. My parents always made sure that I went out and I did things early. At one point during my life I played for 4 different boys football clubs. I wasn't really as good as the other people in the team, I don't think. I was a defender. That was another social development for me, and it was also sport as well. I mean, it wasn't the other things which everything else in my life's been about, documentation, being in an office, being the computer. It was a different kind of experience to have, like being out with the lads, being out with the boys, like interacting in that kind of way within a competitive element, so that was quite interesting. But whenever I wasn't at school and the football clubs, I'd be playing computers as well. And a lot of my friends were into it too, so they'd come round, so it was always in a social setting that I did it anyway, so it wasn't completely isolated all the time. For about a year, I worked in a bingo hall. It sort of more opened up my eyes in terms of what I didn't want to do than what I did want to do, because it wasn't the greatest job. I mean, I met some fun people and I got to know some people that I still talk to now and then, but the actual job itself was pretty mediocre. Sometimes it was a little bit depressing actually, because people would spend all their money and they'd go out in the gambling machines, and you'd have to give them change if they came in and they wanted it to put more in the machine because it's their money, and and it just wasn't a nice atmosphere to be in really, and it made me realise that there are jobs out there that are doing that, and if you don't put some effort in and don't think about what you want to do and apply your skills into getting something you can show to get a job that you do want to do, you could end up doing that. University was, it was really, really good, and it opened up my eyes to a lot of things about the games industry and about the way games are made and about the considerations you have to make whenever games are getting developed that I don't think I maybe would have picked up on without a lot more years in the industry than what I've got now. So it really opened up my eyes to a lot of things I didn't consider before. Also learned a lot of skills off it that apply within the industry, and the social experience of university was fantastic as well. I was a lifeguard for the first part of university, which was a good job. That opened up my eyes to a lot of things as well, and I learned a lot of useful stuff off of that. And then the second half of uni up until 4th year was my first industry job in games, and that's when I got my job with Absolute Quality. And then for 4th year I decided to not have a job because I knew there was going to be just far too much work to do in order to get the marks that I wanted, so I decided to not have a job for all of 4th year just so I could concentrate on university. I'm early in the industry, so I've been asked this in interviews and things for many jobs, like, what do you really want to do 5 years time and stuff. I've always originally wanted to be a level designer or a game designer, but also within QA, I've got a kick out of QA, and there's a lot of aspects of QA that I've enjoyed. So right now I'm getting my teeth into the industry within a development environment. I'm wanting to learn off the people that are above me, get a good amount of experience within the company, and then I can start to pick between the 2 or 3 paths that I've got in my mind. But I'm really enjoying QA just now anyway as well, so that could be a future for me, yeah.